running is, I don't know if we call it an extreme sport, but it's an endurance sport and it requires a lot of different things. You're obviously an accomplished runner. Like, what do you do specifically for nutrition and hydration? What are your thoughts on kind of the various popular diets and so forth? Like, if you were doing your coaching, what are some things you would tell people about diet and running?
Well, I worked for a company that produced some new products for a while, and Ralph Nader and a few other people that were out there had some serious commentary about the effect of excess. So I tend to migrate towards moderation, and that's especially holds true. I mean, I remember when we were in high school and college wrestling that it was you have to eat all the protein bars. Everything has to be protein focused, and then that fad seemed to go away. I eat a normal routine diet. I call it a diet. Other people look at me and say, you don't eat some of the fast food restaurants. I eat meat, I eat potatoes, I eat the normal foods that I was raised with. However, I do it in moderation. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the substitute nutrition energies. When I set up a race, I want to eat normal food when I go out. I'm not Dean Karnazes that will eat a whole pizza or two, but I might have a slice of pizza or chicken noodle soup or rice or tortillas as you're running, as opposed to gels or goos or protein bars. That's the general rule of thumb I would tell with everybody that's running. Eat what you're accustomed to, but there's nutritional things that fall within that. We had a runner that I'm training right now that made a habit of eating broccoli before he went out to eat. Well, broccoli has an effect on you that he realized. We were joking about it last night. I can't run and eat broccoli. It is what it is.
Unless it propels you forward faster by all the gas coming out the backside. Back when I used to run, runners would talk about the walkie-talkies, which if you've never heard that term before, it means with every step, some gas is emitted. And they used to say, if you can do more than 4, it's impressive. So as you're going out, right? So, right now, like you mentioned the protein thing, in the weightlifting world, it's still very much alive and powerful. Do you do the carnivore diet, the keto diet, the paleo diet, and then, obviously on the other end of that would be the plant-based diets, vegetarian, vegan. I mentioned Scott Jurek. If you want to make an argument for Scott Jurek being the most accomplished ultra runner in history, you would have a decent case to do that. Vegan from Minnesota, so grew up eating meat and so forth. I don't know if you have any specific opinions based on what you just said. I mean, eat in moderation and eat sort of modestly, but do you have any thoughts about some of those? I don't want to call vegan a fad because I've got enough friends that do it. But
sure.
To me, the carnivore diet, the keto diet, the paleo is very faddish. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about some of those.
I have a friend that we were talking yesterday that consumes fat as part of the diet. I know there's an accomplished runner in the area that runs 100-milers and struggles with the last part of it, and I think it's because of the diet. Hydration probably is the first thing that most people underhydrate, and then beyond that, the calories. I always equate it. I talked about it last night with a group that I was working with. You can hit that gas pedal when you floor the car, and you can go 90 miles an hour, and you're gonna run out of gas fairly soon. Or you can hit it at 25 and go probably a lot farther. Well, the calories going in are a reflection, in my opinion, of the efficiency of that engine coming out. Mm-hmm. If you eat a balanced, it could be you adapt. A good friend of mine a year ago was working solely on a keto diet. There's some adaptation that goes with adjusting the mechanics of your body, the physiological changes that you go through to get to that point. I don't know that it's. I'm that middle of the road guy. I'm the one that's saying moderation on things that I don't eat a lot of the chemical byproducts.
Sure.
So I guess Adam, if I had to say it, I'm skirting the issue. I'm good with just about anything that's out there because I've seen enough people that the guy that steps up next to me that weighs 50 pounds heavier than me that eats all 7 days a week. I worked for a guy one time that for almost a year we ate 7 days a week at McDonald's. I felt like at the end of that I probably had no harm to McDonald's, but I felt like there was some byproduct that I wasn't as efficient. I think you look at Scott Jurek, you look at some of the runners that are there's some phenomenal things that they're doing, but that machine has been so fine-tuned through that trial and error of I can do this. I've changed the mechanics of how my body burns fat. I've changed no carb diet, the keto, those kinds of things. I don't know if I'm giving you an answer really, but there's enough people that the result has still been winning their age group, winning their titles, that I think you could find everybody that's out there. I ran with a gal from California for the longest period of time, and what I found out that her success was, it was predicated on a lot of dairy product. I can't eat a lot of dairy product. I discourage people from eating dairy when they go run long distance because I think it has other side effects.
It does.
But that was her success.
I think it's a testament to the fact that the human body has evolved over so much time that you can feed your body a lot of crap, and in some cases it can perform. And what I get a lot is people that will say, well, my fill in the blank, my grandpa, uncle, whatever, smoked 3 packs a day and lived to be 96. Right. So he won the lottery in terms of that. But it's a little bit like, this is a bit of a weird metaphor, but if you watch professional golfers that are they're on the tour, so they're obviously good, no swing looks the same. And you can say the mechanics of a golf swing are X, Y, Z. And I can't remember the name of the guy that had that weird twisty swing that everybody was always like, no one else in the world can hit a golf ball that way. So it's hard to argue with, you can say Jurek, but then if you look at one of the other ones that eats meat and animal products, and now what's their longevity of health, we're getting into a whole other topic. But no, I think you answered it beautifully because, you're a coach, you're obviously an accomplished runner. I just kind of wanted to know what you would think about that.
I've got a good friend that has run 200 plus marathons and has been very meticulous in his entire tenure of running those in terms of food, very controlled, prescripted, and yet still had health problems. And that's where genetics come into play. So I've seen both ends of it. I prefer the leaner, lighter, more consumable, rapid consumption, less chemicals.
You make an excellent point of eat real food. One of my favorite books, and he's actually going to be at a conference I'm going to be at soon. His name is T. Colin Campbell. He's a plant-based researcher, but one of his books is Whole, W-H-O-L-E, and he doesn't promote eating animal products, but the idea is even plant-based products. So an Oreo is vegan, but you would never catch him telling you to eat an Oreo. It's eat not olive oil olives, not a broccoli smoothie broccoli. Don't juice it, eat it. And so that's kind of what you said. I don't eat a lot of processed stuff. I don't want the goos and the chomps and the chews and the Cliff Bars are pretty delicious. Yeah. But I mean, stuff like that. And so definitely that's kind of what I wanted to ask about.
To your point, though, I think the difference is if that's everything you consume or it's the extreme.
Right, sure.
Race day, I tell people all the time, you've earned it. Eat whatever you want that day.
After.
Take as much garbage in as you want.
After.
Exactly. You've earned that.
My first 10K, I should show you pictures on my Facebook page. My first ever 10K, I was in medical school. It was a Halloween run in Virginia Beach, and one of my medical school friends, we dressed up as Smurfs. And I made it to, I was in the 5th mile. The makeup started to run into my mouth. As if that wasn't bad enough, we were on the boardwalk. I could see the finish. I thought it was closer. It was not. It was way farther away than I thought. But so like how they hand out stuff at aid stations. Mm-hmm. One of the things I loved about 5Ks is that I always run past the aid station. I'm sorry, you don't need a water stop in a 5K. And frankly, I would choke on the water sometimes. But anyway, so we were close to the end, and I went past an aid station, and they handed me a little Dixie cup full of candy. And I looked at it, and I was getting ready to throw it away, and I pulled out a piece of candy corn, which I love and never would let myself eat back in those days. And I thought, I'm so close. And I ate it, and I was sick as, oh my God, in the last, and I kept thinking, why isn't the finish line getting any closer? And I just thought, oh, you broke your, I've got this, I'm like drinking this makeup, and I ate that thing, and it was like, oh. oh God, never again. So after the race, you can, you know, you can celebrate and so forth. But